wanted to make sure that if I was going to take on a band, that it was a band that had the potential to go on to do great things in their career.
I'd have to say Citizen is an entity that's just it's a cool entity within itself.
We found Michael, we got in touch with him, and began to work.
I was listening very carefully to the lyrics, and I was listening to the melody, and I was listening to the overall music, and I think the first thing that came to mind for me was that the band didn't seem to want to compromise. As soon as I listened to the tracks, I thought, this is a band that may be influenced, and probably are influenced by other bands, but they don't really want to emulate other bands. Ultimately, the creativity was what won me over for the bands.
I loved working with Michael. We basically, you know, he'd come up with an idea, say, well, what about, you know, just doing this as a pad? Then I would sort of take that and morph it into something else, and then bounce it back to him, and then he'd bounce it back. So it was like this ping pong sort of idea. And by the end of it, it was we were both, you know, super happy with what we achieved.
You could tell everybody wanted just to be better. The best ideas always win. I think that this band always had that at the forefront of whatever they were doing. They were always like, this is a great idea, let's go with it no matter what.
I can see it coming down on me.
I don't use the H word often, but I think it's a hit. It represents also, I think, all the best parts of the band. The energy, the creativity, and that little bit of mainstream that we're talking about is all incorporated into one song. If you can drive home from work every day after a long day and sing a song, then you know you got success, and I think that one's one of those songs. Keep Me Breathing was probably one of the most different or unusual songs out of the 5. I thought it had a real mainstream edge to it. It was a lot of fun. Keep Me Breathing. I thought it was one of the more. It's probably a sleeper. I would think that it's sort of a dark horse on the record. I think people will probably listen to it and really latch on to it unexpectedly. So that's what that song has going for it. It's great, great tune.
It's been hard to say what you want without letting down your.
For Ghosts, we wound up using bells. I wound up saying, I turned around at Michael, I said, hey, what do you guys think? What do you think if we used bells and choir? And pretty much everybody in the room looked at me like I was growing a second head. Because it was just something, it was a little bit different at the time. And so I just started laying down the parts, and it actually worked. My other main instrument that I use, it's a CV Hammond that's modified into a B3. It's very much of a warm, organic kind of sound.
Ghosts. I like Ghosts a lot. I love that song.
Was a year of the rat, a year of change.
I loved Ghosts and Year of the Rat.
And the Year of the Rat is about this journey of being down and coming to this point of enlightenment or understanding.
That one to me, it's got like this 6/8, it's got like this kind of a dirge kind of a feel to it. It's very, I don't know, it's like this mournful kind of idea. It's like you're literally picturing this poor rat with all this, burden on his back, and it's very metaphorical. And I mean, that's the thing too, is Year of the Rat can mean a lot of different things for different people, and I think a lot of people can identify with the tune.
Well, Mike McDonald actually used the word epic before I did, but it is actually an epic track, really amazing, and I would say that one's probably the most creative piece. I thought it was fantastic. That's just my humble opinion.
That's what I thought.
So Brad Moore writes fantastic lyrics, extraordinary actually, and I think that's one of the great assets of the band. Definitely is the vocals. The guitar parts that Mike McDonald put in were extraordinarily well thought out and very creative. The bass is solid, wonderful. Everything was great. All the parts were there, especially the idea of incorporating the B3 and the Hammond into the music was really interesting for me, because I'm a big Deep Purple fan. The drum parts were really well conceived. Dean is a great drummer. Everybody always talks about how solid Dean is. Everybody knows Dean is, women love him, men want to be him. Dean.
You hear these bands, they record for 20 hours, go all into the night, but for some reason we can't find Michael at night.
I definitely learned a lot.
The finished product is amazing.
It ended up being a great EP. We got 5 fantastic songs, and the experience itself, I couldn't have been happier with the way it went. It was a lot of fun, and you know, we laughed every day, had some great times in the studio, and produced a really something I can say I'm honestly proud of, and I think we'll be together in the future for a long time.
See you coming down,